and attach the handle. So let's get started. First of all, we'll go to the main toolbar and click on Customize. Then we'll scroll down to Unit Setup and we're going to select USA Standard, Decimal Inches, then press OK. We're going to create a small plane in the front viewport, so press Alt W to maximize it. Then we're just going to zoom in. Now we'll come over to the object type and we're going to select a plane. We'll just draw out a small plane here in the center. Now we can go over to the Modify panel, and here in the parameters, length we'll type in 7.5, width we'll type in 2. Now I'm going to go up to the main toolbar and click on the Move tool. This will activate the transform panel at the bottom of the screen. I'm just going to press on the X, Y and Z and bring each dial back to 0. Now I've just centered my object. I'm just going to drag it up a little on the Y so it's right in the center. Now I'm going to come over to the Create panel, Shapes, and I'm going to select a line. I created the plane so I could trace out the exact height for the line. Okay, I'm going to pop down to Creation Method. Here in Drag Type, I'm going to click on Corner. Now I'm going to trace out my line, holding the Shift key down, the full length of the plane. We can delete the plane now, we don't need it. Select the line and we'll pop down to the Transform panel and we'll bring the X and Y axis back to 0. I'm just going to move the screen. Now I'm going to come back over to the Create panel, Shapes, and I'm going to select an N-gon. I'm just going to draw out a small N-gon here in the front viewport. Go over to the Modify panel, here in Parameters, Radius, type in 2.5. In Sides, we'll type in 26. Then we'll scroll down to the bottom and turn on Circular. Now we can create some copies of our N-gon. To do that, just hold the Shift key down and drag the N-gon to the right. In the Clone Options dialog, select Copy, number of copies type in 4, then press OK. We're going to select the second one on the left-hand side. Now we can pop over to the Modify panel and set the radius to 1.5. We're just going to leave the sides at 26. Let's select the next one along, and we're going to do the same. We'll pop over to the Modify panel and type in 1.5. Also, we'll do the same for the next one, 1.5. Let's select the last thing on now, and the radius, we're going to set it to 2.4. Now we're going to model one of the N-gons to create the spout for our model. So we'll select one of the small ones. Right-click, and from the Flyout menu, select Convert to an Editable Spline. We'll go over to the Selection and turn on Vertex Mode. I'm just going to zoom in. Now we're carefully going to select the top 4 vertices. Just drag our mouse through them. Right-click, and now from the Flyout menu, click on Corner. Now we need to select the 2 center vertices, and we're going to drag them up. Look down in the Transform dialog and bring it up the Y-axis up to 0.59 or 0.6, something like that. Right-click, and we're going to convert these 2 vertices to smooth. Here we are, now we have a lovely shape for our spout. Okay, let's go over and turn off our editable spline. And now we can start to create our loft. But first of all, we need to select the line. We'll select our line, we'll go over to the Create panel, Geometry. Behind Standard Primitives, we'll select Compound Objects. Now we'll scroll down and click on Loft. To create a loft, we need a path, which is our line, and we need shapes. Look at our path parameters, it's set to 0. That is going to be the top of our line, because that is where I placed the first vertex. Let's go over now and press Get Shape, and we're going to click on the shaped N-gon. This is going to be our spout. We'll go back over to Path Parameters, and we're going to type in 15, press Get Shape, and we're going to click on the small N-gon right beside it. Go back over to Path Parameters, and we're going to type in 18, press Get Shape, and we'll select the next small N-gon. There we are, we've just finished creating our spout. We'll go back over to Path Parameters, and we're going to type in 99, press Get Shape, and click on the large N-gon. Notice the shape now. There's just one more to do. We'll go back over to the path and type in 100, press Get Shape, and we're going to select the N-gon that's on the right hand side. That's just given us a bit of a bevel underneath. Press Alt W to go back to all 4 viewports. Now we'll come into our perspective view. Just going to zoom in. Press Alt W to maximize it. It looks like we have a solid object. We can fix that. Let's go over to Skin Parameters, Capping, and we'll uncheck Cap Start. There we are. How's that? We've got a nice spout, we've got a nice shape. Let's pop back over to the panel and have a look at an Options. Here in Shape Steps, I'm going to bring them down. Just bring them down to 1. And Path Steps, we'll bring these down to 3. Look at our geometry. It's a lot better now. I'll just have a look. I have Adaptive Path Segments turned on. And also I'm going to turn on Liner Interpolations. That's just going to give me a straighter look. Okay, let's have a look. I think that's coming along quite fine. Now we're going to add a shell modifier. So we'll come over to the Modify panel, the Modify list, and we're going to scroll down under Object Space Modifiers, and we're going to select Shell. We're going to go to the parameters, and in outer amount, we'll bring it down to 0.15. 0.15. I think that should be enough. Let's just have a look. Now we can convert the object to an editable poly. So right click and from the menu select Convert to Editable Poly. Now let's go up to the top right hand corner and press on the small wheel. Press on the word Right. Before we carry on, let's get rid of all these shapes. Go to the main toolbar, click on the Select by Name icon. Now here in the dialog we're going to select Line, hold the Control key down and we'll select all the N-gons. Then press OK. Now we can delete them. Press Delete on your keyboard. Okay, let's carry on from here. I'm going to come over here to the left hand corner, click on the word Realistic and then select Edge Faces so I can see the edges a little easier. We're going to start to draw out the shape for our handle. So let's go to our right viewport, come here and click on the word Perspective and then from the menu select Right. Select our object, then press Z on the keyboard to zoom in. We'll start by drawing a line. So let's go to the Shapes panel, select Line, and we're going to place our first vertex here. Try to place them in the same position as you see in this video. Going to lower one a bit further down, and then the last one will be right down here, say 3/4 of the way down. Now let's go over to the Modify panel, and we're going to select the Vertex mode. We want a curved shape for the handle, so let's select the vertex, and from the flyout menu select Smooth. Now we can move the vertices around to find that nice curved angle we're looking for. That's fine. That's just the angle I was looking for. Let's go back over to the panel and click on Line to turn it off. Now I'm going to come back and select my object. I'm going to change the color. I think it will be a little easier for the next exercise. I'll just select the blue. You don't have to do this. Now let's go over to Selection and select Edge Mode. We're going to select all these edges. Let's go over to Edit Edges. We'll scroll down and click on the small settings icon for Connect. I'll just drag out the caddy so we can see it. Here in Segments, type in 2, then press OK. We'll do the same again down here at the end of the handle. Select all the edges. In the caddy, we'll leave it at 2 and then press OK. Press Alt W to go to all 4 viewports. Now we're going to go into our perspective view. Press Alt W again to maximize it. Now we're just going to orbit around. Press back again on the small wheel here at the top. But we're still in a perspective view, but press back. We're going to start a handle right here. So let's go over to the panel and select the polygon mode, then come back and click on this polygon. Hold the Control key down and we're going to select the next polygon, the following, and that one on that side. We're going to do the same down here. This will be the end of our handle. We want 4 polygons. Holding the Control key down all the time. Now let's go over to the Edit Polygons. We'll scroll down and click on the small settings icon for Inset. Just right click to bring it back to 0, and then we can slowly bring it up to 0.05, then press OK. Now we can scale it down. We'll select the scale tool, and we're going to scale it down only on the Z axis. If you look down at the bottom panel here in Z, we'll scale it down to 60. So I'm just going to slowly drag it down. Notice in the Z, when it says 60, we can let it go. There. Now we're going to delete them. Now let's go back over to the modify list, and we're going to select border. I'm just going to zoom in, and we're going to click on the border. Then we'll come back over to our panel and click on cap. We'll do the same here. Select border, come back over to the modify panel and click on cap. Now we have just one large polygon. It's going to be a lot easier now for the next step. Let's go to the top right hand corner, and we're going to click on the small wheel, and we're going to turn it around until we see right. Okay, we're back on our right side again. We're just going to zoom in. Make sure you can see your line and the polygons that we've just created. Let's zoom in. Select the large polygon that we just created. Then let's go over to the panel. And here under Edit Polygons, we'll scroll down. And we're going to click on Extrude Along Spline. Click on the small settings box. Okay, let's have a look in the caddy. We're just going to scroll down and we're going to click on the button that says Pick Spline. It's this one here right at the bottom. Click it, and then we'll come over now and we'll click on our line. There we are, look, automatically our handle's been created, but don't accept it yet. Let's just orbit around. Let's just have a look here at the bottom. Okay, I'm just going to zoom in. You can see that the bottom piece of my handle is penetrating the object. Well, I don't want that, so I'm not going to accept it. I'm just going to close the caddy. I'm going to turn off my editable poly. Now we're going to select the line and the vertex mode, but I'm not going to move any vertices yet because I'm in the perspective viewport. Let's come over, click on the word perspective and choose the right viewport. Now let's zoom in here in the right viewport. I'm going to select my vertex and I'm just going to move it. Just drag it out the way. It's only a trial. I can always come back and remove it if I have to. There, I think that distance there should be alright. Let's go back now to the perspective viewport. And now we'll turn off our line, select our object again, go back and select our polygon, and we'll go over to Edit Polys, and we'll click on the small settings icon for Extrude Along Spline. Okay, now here in the caddy, look, that's a good distance. You can see I have a distance there. You can see the segments. I'm going to come over here to the caddy and bring my segments up. I want a smooth corner, so I'll bring them up to something like 18. That should be alright. There's a nice curve there. Okay, now I can just press OK on the caddy. I'm just going to zoom in. I still have that polygon highlighted. I'm going to hold the Control key down, and I'm going to select the polygon here where it's going to connect. We have both polygons. Let's go over to Edit Polygons, and we're going to scroll down and click on the small settings icon for bridge. There we are, they've been bridged together. I'm just going to bring the segments up. Here in segments, I'm going to type in 2 and then press OK. Let's orbit around. Okay, that's very good. Let's come over to the Modify panel and we're going to select our Edge mode. We'll just select this edge here and then loop. I'm not sure if you can see that. I'll redo it. And now I'm just going to drag them up. We're not going to drag them up too far, just something like that. Let's orbit around. I'll just move it a little more from here. Just slightly. Okay, that's fine. Now I'm going to select the Scale tool and I'm just going to scale it along the X-axis very slightly. Just a fraction. There we are. That's alright. Let's just have a look and orbit around. Okay, before we add our Turbo Smooth modifier, let's just chamfer a few edges. I'm just going to zoom in. I'm going to just turn off the Edit Poly. I'm going to click on this line and I'm going to delete it. Select the jug again. We're just going to tilt it We'll go over to the panel and we're going to select edges. Click on one of the edges, hold the Control key down and the edge on the opposite side, then press loop. There we are. Now let's pop over to Edit Edges. We'll scroll down and click on the small settings icon for chamfer. Just type in 0.05, then press OK. That's alright. We'll select our polygon mode, and now we're going to tilt the object, and we're going to select the large polygon in the base of our jug. Let's go over to Edit Polygons and click on the small settings icon for Inset. 0.05 is OK. Press the OK button twice. We're going to create another inset. Just type in 1, then press OK twice. We can create a third inset. This time we're just going to type in 0.1, then press OK twice. OK, keep our polygon selected, hold the Control key down and we'll scroll up to Selection and press Vertex mode. This has just converted our polygon to vertices. Now we're going to scroll down and click on Collapse. We've just collapsed all our vertices to one vertex. Very good, let's orbit around. Let's select polygon mode and we're going to do the same on the inside. We'll select the inside polygon. Now we're going to scroll down and click on the small settings icon for inset. We'll start with a small inset first, so just type in 0.05, then press the OK button twice. Now we're going to reselect our settings button, and this time we'll type in 1, and then press OK. We'll do a third one, another small one. We'll just type in 0.1, then press OK. Now we're going to hold the Control key down. We'll scroll up to Selection and select the Vertex mode. This has just converted our polygons into vertices. We'll just scroll down now and press Collapse. Now I'll orbit around. I'm just going to zoom in to have a closer look. We also need to chamfer the edges around the handle. We'll select one of the bottom edges here, press Loop, then we're going to scroll down and click on the small settings icon for chamfer. And here we're going to type in 0.03, then press OK. We're going to do the same at the bottom end of our handle. Let's click on this edge, then we'll come over to the panel and click on Loop. Now we can scroll down and click on the small settings icon. There we are, the small settings icon for chamfer. Now here in the caddy, we'll just leave it at 0.03, then press OK. I'll just zoom out. Let's add some more topology to the side of our handle. So we'll select our edge mode. Let's just zoom in and we're going to click on this edge here right beside the handle. We'll go over to the panel and click on Ring. Automatically we have all of these edges selected. That's ideal. Let's go over now to our small settings icon for Connect. Now here in the caddy, in segments we'll type in 1, then press OK. That's it. Let's go over now and turn off our editable poly. We'll just come up to the top and turn off our edged faces. And now I'm going to go over to the Modify panel, to the Modify list. I'm going to scroll down and select a Turbo Smooth modifier. I'm also going to come down here now and turn on Isoline Display. Here we are. Well, we're finished. Let's just click anywhere in the viewport and orbit around. You can see we have a nice handle, very smooth, beautiful angle, our spout, a nice shape. Carry on now and add some textures and some lights. I hope you found this tutorial helpful. Thank you for watching. Enjoy.